Yeah, there we go. Good evening. Welcome to the Intertech Ask and Learn Geothermal Education Series presented by GeoComfort. So today we're covering incorporating geothermal into an existing home. So things to think about for your current house. I'm Kyle Smith, along with Ed Davis. We'll be your presenters today. We're going to share it back and forth here, and hopefully together we're going to be able to come up with a good presentation this evening. A little bit about us and GeoComfort. So we got our start many years ago now. We've been in the industry for about 20 years as a company. Our units are actually made in Mitchell, South Dakota, with our corporate headquarters in Greenville, Illinois. We sell throughout the US, Canada, all over the place. Residential and commercial customer focus. So make the most out of this webinar. Take notes. Ask questions. And this is important. So over on the right-hand side of the screen here in your GoToWebinar toolbox, you'll see a spot that says questions. Go ahead and feel free to type those out at any point, and we'll be able to ask those at the end. And then research and review. At the end of the webinar, feel free to search around and look at the GeoComfort website to see if there's anything else that you may have questions on or that you may find interesting. Ed, I think I'll let you take over from here on this slide and take a break for a second.
Well, thank you, Kyle. Basically, you folks out there, I appreciate you stepping in tonight. And as you'll notice on the screen, you'll see a simulation of a geothermal heating and cooling system complete with the loop field. Typically, we have a packaged unit that could sit in your basement. You'll have a flow center, or also called a pump, that delivers the fluid back and forth from the earth through the unit. That's called a closed loop system. We'll have a fan, we'll have a compressor, things that are the same that you would find in most home air conditioning units, along with associated ductwork. So nothing new there. Next slide, please. This is an interesting tidbit as well. Over 40% of the residential geo units installed presently are in existing homes. So that leaves a whole wide gamut for a lot of the folks out there that want to do something to improve the quality in their home, but also lower that utility bill. There's many ways it can be accomplished. And there's many different systems that can be accomplished as well as into your home, whether it's a split unit, whether it's a package unit, whether it's a water-to-water, hydronics, you name it. If you want to do geothermal, it can be accomplished in most every home. A number of factors will affect the cost and performance of installing the geothermal system. Size of the living area. This is very crucial. When you want to know how large of a unit to put into your home, you'll want to have a qualified heating and cooling contractor come out and perform a manual J calculation, a load calculation program that will tell you exactly the size and airflow delivery through the ductwork that is necessary.
So those guys also look at other parts of the house as well, don't they? I mean, your garage or the basement, if it's unfinished, there's lots of different factors that the heating and cooling contractors take a look at.
Absolutely. And a unit that was put in 20 years ago probably just had a quick load calc done, if any. But a lot of improvements have been made to the envelope of the home over the years, whether it be new windows, better insulation. Maybe you finished off the basement and insulated those walls, for instance. The ductwork is also a key component. A lot of times you'll find out that the ductwork that was put in back in the 50s or 60s or even the 70s is not adequate today, as it is not large enough to handle the airflow of the geothermal unit.
So they can make some adaptations to your current ductwork to be able to make it more efficient.
They may have to, Kyle, good point. At some points where they can't get into the home, maybe it's a short basement, maybe the ductwork is finished in a conditioned space. There's another possibility of going with a split system geothermal unit, possibly dual fuel. So there's a lot of applications there where a package unit will not work by itself.
Yeah, we can get into those here shortly.
Another thing to look at is definitely the electrical capacity. If we're taking, for instance, a gas furnace out and putting in a full package unit geothermal system, we're going to be utilizing more electricity potentially, but there's no gas that'll be used. So therefore, we have to make sure that we have enough ampacity to collectively run the compressor or any electric resistance heat that might augment the geothermal unit. And Kyle, to your point earlier, the insulation and weatherization, very, very key. The better and tighter we can keep the envelope, obviously, the smaller the unit, the less runtime, less operating costs, and less install costs. Available space for ground loops. Again, that has changed so much, and I believe that's what's opened up the residential area as far as retrofits, is to be able to get a small drill rig, potentially a directional boring, where they could run completely underground and come right up into your home in the basement or where have you, without disrupting any concrete, rose bushes, patios, anything like that. So today is probably the best day for geothermal as opposed to years past where the technology hasn't been there to get the loop field in. So we'll show you a little bit more in a couple slides that'll follow here. Kyle, you want to give that a whirl?
Yeah, absolutely. So here are some ground loop options. There's a pond loop that can be done. A pond loop doesn't have to just be in a pond. It can be in a lake. It could be in a river. It could be in a stream if there's enough water flow. But they're very efficient, and they're a nice, inexpensive way to get geothermal installed if you have a body of water close to you. So if you have something close, may as well utilize it. So then a horizontal loop. Horizontal loops are more than just horizontal loops. There's so many different ways and different angles you can do with horizontal loop systems. You can do one similar to this picture, where we kind of call that a racetrack pit. Then you can also do a bucket trench with a small mini X. You can do it with a directional bore, as Ed talked about earlier. You can do it with a chain trencher, as we used to do in the past. We don't see a ton of those anymore. But there's many different ways to get the horizontal loop in the ground. A horizontal loop, though, I will say, generally takes a little bit of acreage, a couple acres or so, but we can put that pretty much anywhere. We see them put underneath cornfields or anything else all the time.
Yep. And then Kyle, when you go to your vertical loops, again, those can be put into a real tight configuration area in row homes in St. Louis, for instance, in the area where I live. We can put these right down the driveway. Typically, a 10 by 10 area will handle most homes in the 16 to 1800 square foot range.
Yeah, you don't need hardly any space for those vertical loops. They can punch holes in anywhere.
And Kyle, let's touch on the pipe a little bit. It's a polyethylene heat fusion pipe, so we don't have to worry about any leaks or any defects, or it's got a 50-year pipe manufacturer's warranty on it. So when it's in, it's done. Some of the applications that you might run into or that could be enhanced in your existing home. Again, for some homes that have a finished basement, we may elect to go with a dual fuel system where maybe you have natural gas. Maybe you don't want your air conditioner setting outside any longer, where you could use a split system geothermal to take that off the back porch or patio and free that area up. And also, so your first two stages of heating would be accomplished with the geothermal. And then when you really need the punch, maybe in the dead of winter, or if you get an extremely cold period, the gas furnace could come on to finish off the cycle. Conversely, during air conditioning, you have two stages of cooling. So again, just another nice method there. The next slide shows radiant floor. That's really becoming big. It used to be more up in the Northeast and in the North Country, up in Canada and Minnesota, Wisconsin, places like that. However, now we're starting to see it, in Kansas, Missouri, other points where we use staple up insulation underneath to bring up the piping, or it could be set right on top of an existing subfloor with some of the new piping arrangements that are available. Really nice concept.
We get a lot of people that do that only in their basements. so that heat can rise to the rest of the house.
Good point, Kyle. And that can even be done over an existing concrete slab if you want to build up your basement floor just a little bit. Definitely want to insulate the concrete on top and then go ahead and put your system down on top of that. But dual fuel, I can't say enough about it. I think it's a nice, clean method when you do have limitations such as electric size, duct size, just ease of installation as well. So
Dual fuel has so many different options. I mean, a lot of people do have gas in the house, whether it's natural gas or propane. You can have it for hot water heaters. You can have it in there for gas range, gas fire pits, gas fireplace. So there's many reasons that folks already have gas in the house, and it's a perfect fit with geothermal and plus a generator.
But one of the key factors I see, Kyle, is that you don't have to put in such a large geothermal unit where you maybe just hit the
cooling load.
The cooling load. Thank you, Kyle. Hit the cooling load, and then most of the heating load, and then so essentially you might drop off 1 to 2 tons of geothermal that wouldn't be needed, but the gas would go ahead and pick it up. So
sounds like a good webinar topic for the future. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. Please feel free to go ahead and take a few seconds and ask us some questions. We'd love to be able to answer. Then, in the meantime and in the future, please feel free to visit our GeoComfort our GeoComfort website to use our savings tool and to find a dealer in your area. If you'd like to talk one-on-one with Ed, myself, or anyone else at Intertech and GeoComfort, please give us a call at 618-664-9010 or Ask and Learn at intertechgeo.com. We're also doing a recording of this webinar. You can watch that at our YouTube channel, which you can see there on the screen. And then join us for upcoming webinars, as we will be doing these frequently and in the future. So we have a couple questions here, Ed.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna read those to you, and I'm gonna let you answer.
That sounds great, Kyle. Thank you.
All right. So the question is, I don't have ductwork in my home.
Okay.
Can geothermal work in my house?
Well, we have to take a quick look. Of course, you'd want to bring a licensed contractor out to take a look at it to see if, in fact, maybe he can get ductwork in the home. But if he can't, we have some other products where maybe we would need to go to a water-to-water arrangement where we possibly use what we call a multi-aqua unit, which are ductless units that can also do chilled water or hot water running through them to give you your cooling or your heating. Works very well.
That way we don't have anything sitting outside, right? I mean, everything still sits
all inside.
In the basement or the garage, and then we just have ductless coils that can hang on underneath a window or above a door or something like that.
Much like an old traditional radiator, Kyle. If you look in the old days, it would be a similar set where it would sit underneath a window or something to that effect. But yeah, good question.
Yes,
very good question.
Actually, we're going to have to do that in the upstairs of my house now. All right, so here's the second question, the last question, actually. I have 3 old air source heat pumps in my house now. Would geothermal work, do you think?
Well, absolutely it would work. And again, which way do we go? I guess we need to assess the situation and see, do in fact we want to take the old heat pumps, get them off the porch and have everything internal? Or do we want to go back with an outdoor split or possibly an indoor split? So again, with a good contractor coming out to assist you, I believe you'll come up with the right arrangement.
Good point. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today. And please check the GeoComfort website for upcoming webinars. And if you have any suggestions, please let us know.